You're ready.
Good evening. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals for the Town of Newcastle. Today is the December 20th, 2021 meeting. I think we have 3 extensions to start the meeting.
3 extensions tonight. The first one is Ryson and Hulry. And they want to have a 6 months extension and 1 year to complete on their project. Everybody's having a problem, it seems, getting materials and contractors. This one sounds reasonable to me. I don't know about anybody else.
Fine with me.
Fine here.
So I'll make a motion that we grant a 6-month extension and a 1 year to finish.
A second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giordina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
You're muted, Howard.
Aye.
There you go.
and Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Okay.
You don't need to. I can do it.
Next extension is,
The Lovett family.
are you ready for the next one? Next extension is Rosenthal. They're looking for a 2-year extension. I'm a little concerned about 2 years. I think that's a little out of the box because you don't know what's going to happen in 2 years. I would be willing to grant them the same as the other extension, of 1 year and 6 months to finish.
You can always come back for further extensions. There's nothing that precludes that, so.
Exactly, but I would prefer to keep it to the 1 year.
I agree.
And I think that I think the 6 months to complete this project rather than a full year should not be a problem. I don't see how it's going to take any longer than 6 months to build a swimming pool.
So if I could just for a second, Brad Schwartz, on behalf of the applicant, the only reason why we asked for such a long extension was because the pool companies have already told us that they cannot begin until spring of 2023. So I get it. We could come back more often to give you an update and request further extensions. So just so I'm clear, Mr. Giordina, is it a 1 year?
I think that I'm sure this board is willing to grant as many extensions as you reasonably need, except that I'm not in favor of such a long extension initially. I think it sets, you don't know what's going to happen between now and next year as it is. And I think it's not a hardship for the applicant to come back for additional extension.
Conditions can change, Brad, and
I'm fine with that. I guess the request is really for as long as the board is comfortable with, because we know we're going to end up having to come back, given what the pool companies are telling us. So that's really the request. Whatever you're comfortable with.
well, you may be able to squeeze it in. They'll,
Yep.
Yeah, you might win the lottery and get done ahead of time. You never know.
Or I'm going to start my own pool company. Is that what it sounds like?
And Brad, that's 6 months to finish. You have a problem with that?
So I don't have my own pool company. I don't know. It's fine. If we need to come back, we'll come back. But 1 year with 6 months.
I'm going to make a motion that we grant a 1 year extension with 6 months to complete the project.
a second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giordina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well,
Happy New Year.
One more extension to Spears, and they're looking for 12 months to start and 18 months to finish. Again, I'm not so sure about the 18 months. I'd like to give them a year to start and again 6 months to finish. They can always come back if they're running behind on their schedule.
I second that.
I agree.
So, hi, this is Yorgo, at 35 Mayberry Road. So the reason for the ask is we've had several contractors come out to see the site, and actually, believe it or not, 2 of them walked away. They were not interested because of the tight fit to get behind the house, and so we actually still are looking for contractors to agreed to do the work. And that's kind of the reason for such a long request, is finding contractors that can do the work behind the house.
Well, as we said previously, you can always come back for an additional extension, and I'm not in favor of such long timeframes.
Tony,
Without,
I think he's
what's that?
asking for 12 months and 6 months and 18 months to finish. So it's 1 year plus 6 months.
Is
Well,
that-
I don't, I have no problem with the 12 months to start. I have a problem with the 18 months to finish. I mean, this project can't take 18 months to do. I mean, and if something happens during the project for lack of material or some unforeseen circumstance, we can always adjust our completion time. But leaving such a long completion time, and I'm not going to say that this particular applicant will do that, leaves the possibility open of an open project just laying around, cluttering up the yard and giving a bad example in the neighborhood. So I'd like to see the projects pushed forward once they get started. So I'm going to go for 1 year to start, and unless the board wants to go for 1 year to finish, I would like to make it also another 6 months to finish. But I'm willing to go for a year and a year if everybody else feels that's okay.
This is Tara, the Yorgo's wife, the homeowner. Could we then, based on the conversation we had just this week with another contractor who is going back and forth with our architect with more issues, could we ask for 18 months to start then? This is surprising how long it's gone on just to do a deck.
Yeah, I think the
So,
issue is less about
to
how much
start.
time it'll take to finish the job once it starts. The issue is finding the people that can do the work. Does that make sense? So
I think, sir, we understand the issue. We understand sort of the environment. We're not precluding you from coming back. We're just setting guidelines that will establish a time frame initially, and we will welcome you coming back if it's necessary to fill us in on what has happened in the interim time period.
We're very reasonable, but if conditions change, we want to be able to adapt to them.
What type of conditions
Okay.
could change?
This is
I don't know.
environmental-
Maybe there's another
environmental
pandemic.
No,
I think
environmental conditions, right?
they're leaving it open to get another extension. Is that correct, what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes, we're very reasonable. You can come back and we'll, if nothing has changed and everything looks good, we're going to grant you another extension.
You're asking for something that the board has not in its history granted. And again, perhaps circumstances are different, but all we're saying is we'll grant you an extension now, and if it becomes necessary, you'll come back and see us and we'll interpret those circumstances at that time. But we're not precluding you from getting further extensions.
We were just trying to
Okay.
take one more thing off the plate. I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
I think we were just surprised how long this took for a deck. So we'll just have to come back, I think, the way this is going.
Well, hopefully you'll get it started and you won't have to come back.
Yeah.
Maybe
hope.
look on the bright side.
So then, just so we're clear, it's 12 months to start and then 6 months to finish after it's started.
That's right.
And if it starts, I'm making it up just so I understand. If it starts 6 months from now, we still only have 6 months to complete, correct? Because we finished the starting 6 months early. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You want to make the motion?
Do we need it, all right. I'll make a motion that we grant 1 year to start and 6 months to finish.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Mull.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one is Claire, 15 Martha Place.
You on?
Hi.
Not yet, I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. So you got nowhere with the wood top today.
No, I got all.
Yeah, I understand, but you know, we've got.
I'm
like, 2
sorry.
days to do
I'm
this.
sorry. Could you mute your line unless
Yeah.
you're addressing the board? Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Claire, bring us up to date on why you're returning to see us.
Pleasure to see you all again. So just a reminder, I'm the architect and owner for 15 Martha Place, and we're here to continue our discussions on the 208A variance that we're seeking to improve the road. We're looking to improve a portion of private road Martha Place and its intersection with Park Drive up to and beyond the southwestern extents of our vacant lot. During the previous conversation, the zoning board expressed concerns regarding the width of the proposed drive that we were showing on the documents, as well as the proximity to accessible fire hydrants. During the past month, Robert Seoli and myself have met with Fire Chief Maitland and have been able to determine that a preferred road width of 18 feet is preferred for emergency vehicle access. And that's that the site's proximity to hydrants is adequate for the fire department to perform any emergency duties. We've updated and resubmitted our site plans to reflect that adjustment, and I've also extended the analysis of the slopes to continue the portion of the improved road. However, following the submittal and most recent set of drawings, Michael Campbell, who's our engineer, Bob Seoli and myself have met to discuss 3 recent comments that we received the weekend. Our goals are to work with Mr. Seoli to adequately address these comments and satisfy the requirements of the town. But they may take several weeks to fully hash out. The first comments regarding stormwater runoff and the analysis needed to determine volumes offset by the increased impermeable road width. Our goal is to either tie into the existing storm drain system further down the road or to create a new retention system at the low end of the drive. Both options are going to require a survey and additional soils analysis to determine which is most viable. The next comments regarding the slopes analysis itself, which again will require additional surveying at the portion of Martha Place, which is being improved. So the actual road. We had surveyed our site previously and had been using GIS data to determine the slopes of surrounding properties as well as the roadways. So we'll be doing a more in-depth survey on that to determine that the slopes are indeed accurate and that we're within the steep slopes requirements for the planning board. The last is to determine which, if any, easements and maintenance agreements are required to improve the road and what discussions need to be made with neighboring properties. Our goal is to reach out to our neighbors there, review and adjust any existing maintenance agreements or create a new one for this portion with the properties that are touching it. We would like to request, if possible, that the zoning board considers a conditional approval of the 208A variance with the understanding that we are acting in good faith to meet all these requirements and concerns of Mr. Seoli and the town. And we ask that the board understands that, we want to meet all these recent comments and we will be working to achieve that. But it's going to take several weeks to complete fully and meet the engineering requirements that are needed here. But that we are allowed to continue along the process to building approval. That is being able to take the next step forward to meeting with architectural review boards and going through our actual building and architecture reviews.
Bob, do you want to amplify anything that Mr. Clare has said?
Yes, good evening, Chairman, members of the zoning board. No, I mean, I think he said it very articulately on what we discussed this afternoon between him and his engineer, Michael Campbell. These 3 items, and just to confirm and corroborate what he did say, DPW did provide Russell Maitland flow tests of hydrants that are within 500 feet of the property, which is a code, which is acceptable. And he found the flow test great. So therefore, the new hydrant doesn't have to be put along the road next to their property. So those were done well. And they did require 18 feet. And of course, the engineer did show that. So, my three items are pretty much what Patrick just went over. With the stormwater, I think they have to still demonstrate that there's going to be no additional runoff based on the pre and post flows from the new improvements coming onto the roadway at Park Drive, and also any downstream neighbors. So that will take some time for me to review on that, and then get the calculations and new stormwater report as well. Number two, on my memo, they did not really get land-based topo. Anytime you have retaining walls, anytime you have grade-dependent items such as roadway grades, steep slopes analyses, it is always recommended to have a land-based topo. They're much more accurate than the GIS. GIS is a great thing to use, but it's only good for like higher level planning. When it gets down to the nuts and bolts, it's not that adequate. So that's number two. And number three, I think Eric can chime in on this anytime he likes. It was found during my review that they're going to be putting some retaining walls and guide rail, and that is a private right-of-way, 30 feet wide. And I would recommend that they have some sort of agreement to make certain in the future, 5-10 years from now, that someone will be responsible to maintain the retaining wall, the guide rail, and obviously the pavement as well, and maybe possibly the stormwater improvements if they're put in the private right-of-way. So, I'm going to turn this over to Eric, and maybe he can discuss about the agreements and the legal end of it.
Thank you, Mr. Cioli. Yes, so in going through it, after it was confirmed that there would have to be improvements to the private drive, it was, it's unclear whether the applicant actually has the legal authority or permission to actually make the improvements, who the owner is of that private drive. I believe there are sections of the private drive that are in front of other properties, not just the property owned by the applicant. So we need the any deeds or easement agreements or agreements to get an understanding of who the owners are of the private right of way, what rights the applicant does have to make the actual initial improvements, and then, as Mr. Cioli said, how they're going to address maintenance of all the improvements going forward. So certainly the maintenance going forward, we could agree as a condition of approval, but my office does need to know what authority the applicant has to make the actual initial improvements, and whether any temporary construction easements are required before any approvals can be granted. And it is possible the agreements could be subject, once we make that determination, it's possible that the agreements could be entering into the agreements could be a condition of the approval. But until we make that determination, I'm not really comfortable granting any initial approvals tonight or conditional approvals tonight without more information, unless the applicant has more information he wants to share with us tonight regarding these issues. So.
We we received the memo Sunday morning, so we haven't been able to dig through our legal documents or reach out to our lawyers that we worked with to close on the property. So it might take a little bit of time to get everything together and get that sent over to you. But we can certainly send you everything that we have as soon as we're able to do that. Given that it's a shortened holiday week, it might potentially not be until the new year, but we can get you everything that we do have.
Eric, do we want the applicant to return in January, regardless of the progress that he has made, to update the board? Or
I think we can adjourn to the January meeting with the hopes that the applicant will have submitted the information, and we'll possibly be able to discuss granting an approval that night. But if the applicant has not submitted it, it always could be adjourned to February then. But I have no problem adjourning so that this information can be submitted to the January meeting, and we'll see where we are at that point in time.
Mr. Clare?
I sounds like we can provide all the information that we can for the legal aspects to our right of way. And we'll aim to get those in as quickly as possible so that we can stay on the January survey. I mean, ideally in my mind, I'd love to vote for conditional approval today, but I understand that Mr. Gordon wants to make sure that we have these documents first.
And just, right, just so the applicant knows, typically when there's we may be able to do it through the typical procedures, but where there are some more sophisticated conditions and legal requirements, typically the board will, at the meeting, authorize us to draft, or they'll take a straw poll, either granting or denying the variance, and then direct us to draft something. So assuming we're okay to go in January, the final written resolution would be done in February. So, it's really a 2-meeting process probably to get to a final resolution. I think given some of the complexities with this application, that may be how we want to proceed, but we can certainly discuss that at the January meeting.
Isn't it likely that there's a stormwater solution that will be different than what exists today, just by the very nature of the fact that the roadway itself is broadening, and there will be more surface that could create runoff?
Yeah, and that's what we're hoping to take into analysis with our new work with Mr. Campbell. So he's going to be performing a more in-depth stormwater analysis with the 18-foot drag width.
Okay. So Eric, is it we're holding the this open at this stage?
Yeah, you're going to adjourn the public hearing to the January meeting, and I suggest, if you could see if anybody from the public is here to speak tonight as well. So,
Pam, do you have anyone who wishes to be heard on this issue?
No one has their digital hand raised at this time.
Okay, I make a motion that we conclude the hearing for this evening, carry this over to the January meeting.
I'll second that.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
See you in January, Mr. Claire, sorry.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Happy holidays, everyone.
You too, Bob.
You
thank
too.
you, Bob. Thanks for your help.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Next will be Fishman. Did I say that right?
Fishman.
Reichman,
Fishman, okay.
Reichman,
Price,
Reichman.
No.
No?
Fishman.
Oh, Fishman. Oh, I'm sorry.
Fishman.
I'm going away. Bye.
Fishman.
85 Hilltop.
85 Hilltop. If
I
that
think
helps.
the architect is Mr. Toscano. I see him on here. I know he's on mute. I don't know.
Mr. Toscano? Can you hear us?
He's muted, but also there is Mr. Fishman as an attendee. I don't know if Mr. Fishman wants to speak as an attendee.
Mr. Toscano, are we going to hear you on this matter? You're on mute. You're on mute, Toscano.
There you go. You got me?
Yes.
Okay. So I presume you have the drawings in front of you?
Is very involved in a organization.
Yes, we do.
Okay. An existing house built, I believe, in 1987. We are simply adding a second floor to the garage. So the first floor has some minor adjustments to it. The second floor, drawing number 2, shows the addition of a study. And then the rest are just the elevation. So the matter boils down to I presume that the setbacks have changed. I think I've done a number of projects in that area, and I think over the years, the setbacks have changed because the house is out of alignment on the front yard by 2 feet, on the side by 2 feet. So that's the nature of the variance we're requesting. You see that in drawing number 6, the cross-hatched area shows that corner of the building that is protruding into the setbacks, the front setback and the side setback. Drawing number 6.
Could you describe what the improvements are?
Yeah, we're adding a bedroom to the second level. Not a bedroom, a study. If you look at drawing number 1, as I described, there's just some minor changes there. On the second floor, drawing number 2 shows a room in the black hatched area. You see it?
Yes.
That's we're not touching the site, the ground at all, except for a 12-inch pier in the upper left-hand corner of that drawing. Outside of that, there's nothing happening to the site. It's only on the second floor that the work is going on.
So you're saying there's no change to the footprint?
Exactly.
Good.
So when are you gonna take a picture?
I can't understand. Did somebody ask me a question?
So there are two variances required.
Yes.
Side yard of 2 feet and front yard of 7.
No, of 2 feet.
Of the front yard is 2 feet or 7 feet?
2 feet.
7 feet, Howard.
It says 7 feet, but he's saying 2 feet.
Yeah. No, it's not.
On the denial,
The required setback is 60 feet, and the existing is 53. That's 7 feet.
Okay.
but then there's another.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm my mistake. Front yard is 7 feet. You're right. Wasn't looking at my drawings. Like I say, that's the way the house was built back in '87, I guess. So existing situation.
Any other questions by the board?
No.
Pam, do you have anyone in the queue?
No one has their hand raised, no.
I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. I move that the Fishman application for a front yard variance of 7 feet, side yard variance of 2 feet to make second floor improvements to a pre-existing non-conforming site be approved for the following reasons. There will be no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood. The benefit cannot be sought through other means. The requested variances are not substantial. There will be no adverse impact on the physical environment, and the alleged difficulty given the pre-existing condition is not self-created. You'll have 6 months to start, 1 year to complete. And we will need, what, Tom, as-built upon completion?
Normally, yes.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Jackie, would you just amend the motion to show that there were no neighbors in opposition?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. You have your variances.
Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies.
You're welcome.
Next is Reichman.
So we are seeking a variance, and I'm going to let my architect speak to the number of feet that we're requesting. The house was built in 1937. It's a very unusual lot. The house is in the corner. Everything is already, there is no space anywhere around the house. What we're trying to do is build a small screened-in porch in the front of our house. I'm going to let Mary speak to the numbers. Wait, Mary, but you're muted.
Almost the entire house is in the 50-foot rear yard setback. It's in a corner lot. So it has two fronts and one side, which is really way in the back. So the side, the rear yard is really like a side, and the closest neighbor to that side is 95 Valley Lane, which has sent us a letter agreeing to this project. And previously, they having a variance granted for 16 point, it's a 50 feet rear yard is required, and the previous zoning variance was 16.88, and we're asking for 19 feet. That's the only variance we need. And there's been letters and support from the planning board, which was sent to you. So if you have any questions.
Are you finished with the planning board at this stage?
Yes, we're finished with the planning board, and in the planning board process, we looked extensively at other options that might be possible for places to put this room, and none of the options were feasible. And they ultimately gave us the letter that we sent with our materials to support our project, acknowledging that there weren't any other possibilities for this project. It's not going to impact any neighbor. The only neighbor that is even in any way affected, it supports our project. And yeah, so that's basically it.
And you've accounted for the pool equipment and any other elements of the pool as far as the variance that you're requesting?
Yes.
And your site plan shows a shed.
Shed?
No, that was taken down about 30 years ago.
Okay.
And also, you have noted that we were going to do a patio, which we're not doing anymore. So it's just the screened-in porch.
Okay.
In regard to the planning board's comments, we have a letter from the planning board, December 13th, 2021, that has some very particular restrictions as with regard to wetlands and mowing, et cetera, et cetera. Are you willing to adhere to all those restrictions if this is granted?
Yes, and not only that, I have a landscape engineer who is participating in this call, who is going to help me do all those steps.
I think we've passed all those hurdles.
Yeah.
Hurdles.
Hurdles. Yeah, we're ready to go with those hurdles.
Because I think if we were to grant this variance request, I'm sure that the planning board's comments and restrictions are going to be incorporated into part of the approval if it is so approved.
Yes.
As long as you're aware of that and understand that that's going to be something they're going to have to comply with, then they don't have a problem.
Yes.
Pam, is there anyone in the queue who wishes to be heard on this matter?
No one has their digital hand raised to speak on this matter. No.
Any of the board members who have questions? I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that the Reichman application for the construction of a screen beam porch requiring a rear yard variance of 31 feet be approved for the following reasons. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. There is no other way to achieve the benefit sought other than by granting a variance. This is not, in this particular case, not a substantial request as to, because of the double front yards and a unique configuration of this property. There'll be no adverse effect on the physical conditions or the environment in the area. Part of the approval will incorporate the planning board's recommendations laid out in the December 13th, 2021 memorandum, which includes restrictions with regard to wetlands and mowing and rain garden features and some other ones that I won't list them because we'll just incorporate this letter into the motion for approval. And you will have 6 months to start, 1 year to finish. And Tom, do we need some kind of a survey? How are we going to work this?
There's a special note in the application papers about the type of survey that they wanted.
Members of the board, Mr. Chairman, the town requires that the property be pre-staked, both the wetlands and the property building boundaries for the proposed site initially, so that there is no possible way of straying from where the construction has to be in the delicate wetlands that are around it. So we're going to request staking of the property and then a final survey at the completion.
So we'll include those requirements into the motion for approval.
Thank you, sir.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variance.
Happy holidays. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Harshman?
Yes, hi. Mary Scott here to represent the Harshmans. Believe Lisa is listening in as well. We are here to ask for a front yard setback reduction, and I will share my screen if that's okay. Go through the drawings.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so here is the survey of the Harshman residence. So you can see the existing house is here. There's a 1-story piece on either side. One's a family room, one's a sunroom. The property is bordered by Mill River Road and Hamilton Road. It's not on here, but the Greeley statue is right here. And then Perry Court goes right in here. So it basically has 3 front yards. And here is, let me make this a little smaller. So here's the view. So here's the Greeley statue and here's the house. So you basically circle around, you go in the driveway here, garage, house. So the front of the house, which was built in the 1920s, before the sawmill, faced out, and then there's a 1-story piece on either side. Right now, everyone enters from the back onto Perry Circle and parks here. So this is the existing house. This is the 1-story piece that faces, so project, let me back up. our proposed project is to add a second story over these two one-story wings of the house. So one is on this side, which faces, this is the one in contention, this faces Hamilton. And as well as adding a second story, we're going to change the windows and make it a little more in keeping with the original house. This is the front of the house, which faces Mill River Road. This is the side. So this is the other one-story piece to add over here. And this is the original front, which faces Mill River Road.
No expansion of the footprint for either wing?
Correct.
Okay.
This is the back where everyone enters. This is the driveway, there's a deck here. So you can see on the first floor, we're renovating the kitchen and opening up to one side as a family room, the other will be a home office. And then on the second floor, there'll be a master closet and bathroom extension, and then a playroom and an additional bathroom on the other side. So from the front, the idea was this should be in keeping with the house and enhance the architecture. So you can see from the Mill River side, this would be the two second floor additions, which are going to match siding, window style, roofing. From the left elevation, the new windows that are in the on the Mill River side will be more in keeping with the house, second floor. This will be the expansion from the rear with the two one-story pieces or second story pieces. And from the left side, right side, depending on where you're standing, the other side on the deck, a sliding door to the deck and windows here. And then the windows above, which we've placed symmetrically and with the half round. And so the variance that's needed on the Mill River side, no, on the Hamilton side, it's a 60-foot requirement. We have 42 feet, and so the requested variance is 18 feet.
This is a legal non-conforming use.
Correct.
So everything there, you're not changing the dimensions of the actual building.
We are not, other than the second floor.
Right.
You're not changing the footprint.
We're not changing the footprint, and we're within the floor area ratio and everything else.
Pam, is there anyone in the queue who wishes to be heard on this matter?
No one has their hand raised at this time, no.
Thank you. Any other questions by the board? I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. I move that the Harshman and Glynn application for a front yard variance of 18 feet for the construction of second stories above two wings of the house be approved for the following reasons. These improvements will, of course, make the home more livable. There will be no undesirable change produced in the character of the neighborhood. The benefit cannot be sought through other means. The requested variance, given the circumstances of it being pre-existing non-conforming site, are not substantial. The proposed variance will not have an adverse impact on the physical environment, and the alleged difficulty is not self-created. There are no neighbors who have appeared in opposition. You will have 6 months to start, 1 year to complete, and there will be a requirement for as-built survey upon completion.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variance.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Next is Lowitz.
Hi, we're looking for a 10-foot variance in order to put in a full house generator.
So tell us how you came to conclude where it should be placed.
Lake Katona Electric came out, surveyed the property, and that is the side of the house which had the most space. The other side is where the driveway is. And our neighbors on the other side have their generator on that side. So this was the least intrusive to neighbors and also to our own enjoyment of the property.
Can you describe the vegetation that exists between your property and the next property as it relates to the generator?
Sure. So there's a grassy area, and then there's a line of hedges.
Okay.
And our neighbors, the Langs, have their garage right up against the hedges, which I'm sure was grandfathered in a long time ago. There's no setback there. So there is an additional barrier between what would be our generator, the lawn, the hedges, their garage, their driveway, and then their house.
And what fuel will you be using to power the generator?
It would be, you mean propane?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And your electric closet and the electric feeds, where are they in relation to the generator?
They're in our basement.
On the same side of the house?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions by the board?
No.
Pam, anyone in the audience who's found
No
this
one-
application
no one has
scintillating?
no one has their hand raised for this topic.
Okay. I'll make a motion. We close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Who'd like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for Mark and Julie Lowitz for a 10-foot side yard variance for the installation of a whole house generator. The granting of the variance will not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. This is the logical place for the generator. It is seemingly far from a neighbor, and no neighbors have commented against this application. There's no feasible method other than the variance to achieve the benefit sought. The variance is not substantial. It won't create an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Although this is a self-created hardship, I believe it's de minimis. For those reasons, I believe we should grant the variance, 1 year to start and six months to start, 1 year to finish.
We need a final survey on that?
Yes, sir, please.
And a final survey would be necessary.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye.
Thank you. You have your variance.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you.
Before we end the meeting tonight, I just wanted to recognize the board secretary and the addition to her family. We all are very pleased to have Parker Rose be a member of the family, the extended family.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Jim.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the meeting minutes for the November 17th meeting.
I'll second.
Chairman Kenneth Cooper,
In favor?
Anthony Giardina,
Aye.
Harvey Bonaparte,
Aye.
Howard Dubs,
Aye.
Michael Nolan.
Aye. Before we go, I have a couple of things. First, I'm not sure who. There's somebody named Sarka left on the Zoom. I don't know if they have anything they wanted to say or if they were left over from something else, but they're still on. But so the board, as you may be aware, the legislation authorizing the board to hold virtual meetings is expiring on January 15th, 2022. You could still hold, you have to have a physical presence. So there, if nothing changes, if no new executive order or no new legislation is adopted, which the way things are going, the consensus is they're gonna do something to, give the virtual ability. But at this point, we don't know. The legislature doesn't come back in session until January 5th. So the meeting has to have a place where you can have a physical presence. As you know, if you give in advance, if a board member gives in advance their location and gives access to that location to the public, they could still appear virtually, which is, always an option. But what needs to be decided, though, is assuming there is no change in the, in-person requirement, is the board, I guess, and this is part of this is for Pam. Are we going to do a hybrid meeting where we give the public an option of appearing? Are we going to, which is what you were doing prior to going back to all virtual? And so is the board in favor of doing the hybrid meetings, assuming nothing changes, or does it want to do in-person meetings, completely in-person meetings, or at least notice it as in-person? What we're going to do is likely notice it for all virtual. Provide the ability to go all virtual if new legislation or a new executive order is adopted. We're going to include sort of an alternative scenario where if that legislation is adopted or an executive order is issued, we can, even if public notices have gone out, Jackie sent everything out, we still have the option to sort of switch gears and go back to all virtual at that point. But I think, Pam, I don't know what the other boards are doing in Newcastle right now as far as their notices going out for the meetings after January 15th.
I don't know about after January 15th. Right now, they're all virtual. I know the hybrid can take place at Chappaqua, Chapac, and at the town hall. And Carrie usually does those because the hybrids are just a more complicated format.
Right.
But it's possible. It just depends on the availability of those two venues.
Right. I know we've been doing the hybrid ones at town hall. I know the board didn't love it, but it's probably that's up to, again, I wanted to have the discussion for the board so that you could decide what, how you want to proceed. So
what do we have to decide?
Speaking for me, I found the hybrid to be very disconcerting. It's either going to be all one way or all the other. Unless, that's only me. Everybody else has their own say, and I'll go along with the majority. But if we could avoid a hybrid by any way, manner, shape, or form, I would prefer that.
I think I would prefer to have the option to go hybrid, only because I don't think the situation is going to change so much. And even if they don't enact the ability to do virtual, I don't think I'm going to feel comfortable coming into town hall.
That is a problem for all of us. I agree.
I also think in person, speaking through a mask is a challenge, and it is what it is. But I think hearing and understanding people is a challenge.
So that's how I felt with our last meeting. The hybrid that we had was very difficult to articulate your thoughts. And then there was a confusion as to who was going to do what somebody, some people were on the screen, some people were in person. And I felt it to be, well, like I said, a very disconcerting meeting, and I'd like to avoid it if possible.
Let me ask Eric a question. Eric, if everyone on the board chooses to do hybrid and chooses to do a virtual, will the meeting still occur in town hall?
Technically, you still need a physical, under the old, under the existing open meetings law as unmodified, if we were back in 2000 and, February of 2020, before, if we wanted to have this hybrid option, and this is what the Committee on Open Government has said, you need some type of physical location within the town where the public can come, in addition to the public locations where each of the board members are located. Remember, technically, if you give your location as a board member in a hybrid meeting, somebody could come to your house and sit in the living room and watch the meeting in your living room. That's the way the law is written. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me why they still haven't changed it, but that is the way the law is written. And so I just have to make sure you're aware of that. If somebody comes, knocks on your door, say, I want to watch this meeting in your living room where you're sitting, you have to let them in. I'm
We
just
have a big living room.
Well,
That's
so,
fine.
wait a minute.
we don't
Suppose
share
you
it.
take your computer and sit on your front porch. They can sit out on the lawn.
Yeah, you could sit on your front porch or on your screened-in porch. I
Put
mean,
your
look,
coat and hat on.
what's that?
I said I put on my hat and coat and sit on my front porch.
Right, or I think Ken did it one time in a library somewhere. That's another option, or in a, again, you're trying to avoid areas where the public are. So I'm hoping this isn't going to be an issue, but we just want to deal with it in a way that if for some reason the legislature or the governor are incompetent for some reason, and this is happening, we need to have a way to deal with it. So I think setting it up as a hybrid meeting, Jackie, is going to be the way to go. Noticing it as a hybrid meeting, giving the board a choice. Board members have to let us know, a week before the meeting or so, whether you want to come or give us your address where you're going to be. Jackie will notice it. I guess Carrie will work with Jackie on getting the hybrid set up and getting the Zoom. And there'll be an alternative where it'll be all Zoom if the governor or legislature acts. So that's I think that's the best way to go.
Agreed.
Especially the way things are going right now. So, and the new, look, if things continue, Newcastle may enact a limit on how many people can actually come to town hall. That could be another possibility.
One other question, Eric. Listen, if we went to a hybrid meeting and opened up our usual room at the town hall for the public,
right,
and no zoning board members showed up, they all decided to stay home, would that satisfy the law that these people have a place to come and sit in the meeting room and not at my house or Ken's house or anybody's house?
It would, but the way the law is written, the public has the option where they want to see it. And I'd have to talk to the Committee on Open Government whether we wanted to, if we tried to implement that restriction. As far as I know, it would violate the open meetings law, the way it's written. I understand, it makes sense. Why can't the public just come to but the whole thing is to be able to view the board members in person. That was the idea under the open meetings law before we, if a board member wanted to appear and it could be by telephone too. Like back in 30 years ago, if you wanted to appear by telephone, somebody could be there watching you speak on the telephone, so in your house or wherever you were. Nobody contemplated there would be a pandemic where it would be dangerous to actually do that. I don't think when they wrote the open meetings law or when they amended the open meetings law to include that requirement. So,
well, hopefully the legislature will wake up and do the right thing.
Right, they are coming back in January 5th. So I think if things continue to move, they are. I would expect that they'll continue the virtual meeting ability. So,
okay.
I just wanted Jackie to know exactly what she's doing because those notices have to go out pretty far in advance, and probably before January 5th. I'm not sure. Do they have to go out before January 5th, Jackie?
I have to check my calendar. I think it's that week that they go out. I have to check, but I think it's that first week in January that the public notices go out.
So I'd wait till the last day to get them out to see if the legislature changes, I would hold off as long as possible getting them out without being uncomfortable. But, because I believe the legislature comes back on that week, so.
Okay.
Okay.
They're out of session now, Eric?
I think they're out now until after the holidays. But I believe I read somewhere they come back on the 5th. So that's my understanding. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So the
I forgot, did we do the minutes? Ken?
Didn't we?
I forgot,
Yes,
did we
we
do the
did.
minutes or
We
not?
We did them. Yeah.
Got off on a tangent here. I don't know what the heck we're doing anymore. Okay, well, that's it. Everybody have a great holiday to have.
You too.